my God. Hopefully people come back in. My my stuff just crashed on me. Might be time to upgrade my system. Might be time to upgrade my stuff. I don't even know what I was talking about. Just in the middle of me talking, everything died. Like it was still on. It just died. Looks like we're doing good now. My apologies. This will just be a continuation of what we were talking about, obviously. If you were tuned into that, don't know what happened, to be honest with you. I'm talking, and the next thing I know, everything dies on me. So that wasn't fun. So I guess we'll see if people join back up. If not, we'll just continue. I think I was talking about I think the video's still on my channel. I think I honestly don't even remember what we were talking about, guys. Damn technology only works when it wants to. Let me see. Where did my computer die at? Okay, so looks like I died around the time we were talking about Patrick. We were talking about not Rutgers. Got Rutgers on my mind because they beat Miami 14-0. We were talking more so about the NIL and the guys opting out and how much they think they're worth and this NFL money. That's kind of what we were on. Essentially, we were on the opt-out parts of the video and talking about, the Keons and the Johnnies and all these guys opting out. And again, as they should opt out, you don't risk any injury by playing in what, again, has been deemed a meaningless football game. It's funny how, as we try to just pick back up where we left off, no, I definitely wouldn't have just, I was in the middle of talking and it just died on me, Jeff. But as we try to pick back up here, I guess the point I was going to, it's one of the points we were trying to reach is it's funny how the way the media is painting this whole opt-out thing. Everybody can tell you that your season was meaningless, and now listen to all of these guys, man. They're all talking about, man, I wish FSU would take this game. Like, I've never before heard the media try to spin what's been happening to Florida State this past month. Oh, how cool would it be if FSU came out and took this game serious and showed the world, show everybody that you like if this game again means anything? Because all they're going to do is say, well, man, Brock Bowers didn't play. Let's say all the guys did. Let's say all the guys stayed besides the transfer portal guys. But let's just say all the NFL guys decided, you know what, we're going to stick it out. We're going to play this game. They would still give the excuse, well, their best left tackle, Marius Mims wasn't in this game, and Brock Bowers, and we know how that offense looks so different without Brock Bowers. Like, they would still use the excuse. FSU was always going to be in a lose-lose situation in this Orange Bowl. You win, Georgia didn't want to be there. You lose, see, we told you so. Those kids know that. Those young athletes know that. Those young athletes know exactly the narrative that will be painted. Win, loser, and there won't be a draw, obviously, but win or lose, they know how it's gonna be spun. So it doesn't really, we know the game doesn't matter. And I've done whole videos on the death of college football. And again, I tell fans, and I'll tell everybody else, the game you loved, the game that you fell in love with, is dead. The bowl games are meaningless. There was a time when the bowl games actually meant something because the bowl games were used to actually determine the national championship. And then the BCS got involved. And the BCS bowls were still more meaningful because you could still have a split national championship in the BCS era. But the BCS got involved and they started pitting one against two. And more times than not, the consensus was whoever won 1 versus 2 was the national champion. But there were even some years during the BCS era, for instance, when USC split a national championship with, was it LSU? USC split the national championship with, was it 04 or something like that? I don't recall off the top of my head, but I know we've had some split national champions in the BCS era. Right? So the whole purpose of the playoff was to get away with the potential of a split national champion. The whole purpose of the playoff was for guys to, or teams, earn their way into a playoff formula that would then determine the number 1 team. And now everybody's calling for, if FSU wins, should they declare split national? Like, why is it FSU's job to declare split national? Or why couldn't the committee just do its job and put the team that earned it? And I don't want to reopen this old wound, but that's what's being talked about leading up to this game, is the opt-outs of Florida State, how it makes the game less meaningless, and people are so disappointed in Florida State, and people wish FSU took this. Y'all knew what y'all did when y'all made the decision on Florida State. Rutgers can't get out of their own way. They have a team that loves to grab face masks for whatever reason. That's like the 3rd face mask call. They can't tackle without grabbing face mask. You made that decision when you decided you don't earn your way. You again get invited based off what's best for business. So all these people talking about how they wish FSU took it more. If you wanted FSU to take the bowl game seriously, you should have put them in the games they deserved to be in. Right? So that's my whole thing on these opt-out things. I am not upset at all about the opt-out. I see Jeff with the super chat here. Let me get to that. What's crazy? Some of the media is trying to paint this narrative now and say that if FSU really belongs in the playoff by proving yourself against your, but again, and it, and we all know that's a BS narrative. What really kills me, Jeff, in chat about all of that is that these former athletes are doing this. That's what kind of blows my mind, is that you have athletes, former football players, some played at the pro level, all of them played at the college level. That's usually why they commentate on college football. And they know good and damn well, had they been on that FSU team, or had they been on a team during a playoff era that went undefeated in the quote-unquote Power 5, they know good and damn well they wouldn't be sitting on this podium, on this pedestal, trying to preach to these kids about how they should go out there and give it one last hoorah. They know that. They know that. They know how they would feel. And it just kills me to listen to these players say that. It absolutely blows my mind. They know good and damn well. Appreciate Jeff with another donation. Again, guys, if you're just now joining back up, everything died on me. I don't know why, only for it to cut right back on. So that's my apologies. Thank you for tuning back in.
Yeah.
There you go. I knew it was LSU and USC. I just didn't remember the year. There was a year in there, too, that Auburn went undefeated, but they did not get a split of the national championship. For whatever reason. It seems like we have problems retaining some players for next year. Where is the battles end? Again, so Josh, we already went over kind of the guys that have hit the portal. I disagree with this narrative that players are hitting the portal at like some unsustainable rate. Again, nobody who's hit the portal, with all due respect to those players, were key components to this team and arguably weren't key components to the future of this team. I'm just going to be bluntly honest with that. Rodney Hill, I know he's kind of a fan favorite, solid football player, man. I don't know if y'all have paid attention to the running backs you've brought into this room and the ones you currently have on the roster. Rodney Hill was expendable. I hate to say it like that, but there's no reason why FSU should get in a bidding war with itself over a player like Rodney Hill, who ended up at FAMU. And this isn't a knock on FAMU. I'm glad Rodney's going to FAMU and he's going to be able to be the key cog to that offense. But if he had all the opportunities in the world like some people think he had, you don't end up at FAMU. You just don't. Okay, so nobody you're going to miss. So as of right now, same thing with DJ Lundy. Shout out to DJ Lundy, man. I've enjoyed watching his progression as a football player. I absolutely do. He was still a situational linebacker that had to be hid by other more versatile players. You could not ask him to be an every down linebacker in today's football landscape. Good luck at Colorado. We will see what happens, and we will see how they decide to use you. But if they decide to make you the key cog of that linebacking core in the Big 12 that's going to throw the ball 50 times a game, and they're going to ask him to cover backers and running backs out of the backfield, you're going to see very quickly the DJ Lundy everybody's been watching for the last 3-4 years at Florida State. So, who did you lose? Who did you lose? You didn't lose anybody. The good players that you allegedly were about to hit the portal. Pat Payton never hit the portal. Farmer was allegedly going to hit the portal. Now he's out. Neither one of those guys are currently in the portal. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm only going to talk about the guys who are currently in the portal. And nobody currently in the portal is a guy that, in my opinion, you're sitting back crying over. The only guy that I would look at in the transfer portal right now that I would say, I come back right now, is Tafasi. And that's only for depth purposes, because I just got done telling y'all before the video cut out. So in the other video, I just got done telling y'all, if Tafasi was who everybody claimed he was in the preseason, he wouldn't still be in the transfer portal right now when he plays a premium position. He plays a position that everybody's looking for. And again, he does not have a home. We'll see where he ends up. But that guy's still currently sitting in the transfer portal and hasn't made a decision. I don't even know what offers he has, obviously. They're not even crystal balling him to any school. He is not a focal point in the transfer portal right now because there are flat out better players than him right now in the transfer portal. Miami did score, so it's now 14-7 Rutgers. As Rutgers just continues to run the ball straight at Miami. But I hear you, Josh. I don't think there's a player retention problem. I think guys are getting bad advice, and there may very well be another exodus of players currently, and I think that's good. That might pick up as FSU continues to add or starts adding some transfer portal talent. We're still kind of waiting on Florida State to get the ball rolling there, but we'll see. Fans of these videos of the 4 teams of the playoffs are saying how this team is going to boat race that team. But wait till the committee got it right, so it shouldn't be any blowouts. There's a blowout every year in the playoff. That's the thing. That's another argument that we've used as Florida State fans, and just people that have defended Florida State have used that same argument, and it's a valid argument. They apparently you left Florida State out because you want the most competitive 4 teams. Did y'all not watch the national championship last year? Every year there is a team that gets washed in the playoffs. But for some reason in this year, we want to avoid that. Like there's to this day, there is no legit justification for what happened. Zero. No legit justification. Hill was the real deal. Well, maybe. Nobody in the country, I don't want to say nobody in the country, but he ended up at FAMU. So I don't know how high his stock was. And again, I say this all the time. Skill position players come a dime a dozen. Personally, I would go to the transfer portal. My recruiting strategy would be load up on the trenches in high school. Obviously, you take premier skill position players out of high school, but it would not hurt you to just, you can get a running back in the portal, no problem. What's up, Zay? There's a bunch of teams that have gotten smoked. I mean, I think Notre Dame got smoked. Michigan State, Cincinnati, I don't even believe was that competitive when they played Bam. Like, come on, every year. There's been a blowout every year. ESPN is losing money bad at this year's playoff. In New Orleans. They selling Sugar Bowl tickets dirt cheap, trying to fill up the Superdome for that game with Washington and Texas. I think some of that has to do with how well does Washington's fans travel. I don't know that. I don't know how well they travel. And that might have something to do with that. How you feel about tape timing? It's terrible timing. Absolutely terrible timing. Again, I talked about that in the previous video that was like 5 or 10 minutes ago, that cut off. So I know this looks like a new video, but it's a continuation of the last video. But we did talk about that. Terrible timing from Tate, but I understand why he hits the portal. But not great timing, obviously. Hell, Miami got running backs playing quarterback right now. Skill positions ain't that important. I mean, look, skill position players can be found. You can generate. You hit on the key positions on a football team, and your skill position players just by what's the word I'm looking for here? They just upgrade just off of the fact that you recruit a great quarterback. Your offensive defensive lines are tremendous, right? They benefit off that. We've seen wide receivers. We've seen quarterbacks make wide receivers look way better than they are. You go look at some dominant defensive lines. You can see how a dominant defensive line can make a secondary look a lot better than they are. I think to some degree that was the case with our secondary this year. So, yeah. Can our defense win this? So if you want to talk some, we can actually talk some of this Orange Bowl stuff. Absolutely. But he says, can our defense win this game if our offense can help at all? Our defense, for the most part, obviously looks a lot better on paper than the offense. You are missing Verse, obviously. Outside of Verse, There's Akeem Dent, who did play well for you. I think that's it. Or Ronaldo Green. But I think, AZ can fill in nicely for Ronaldo. We'll see. We'll see. And then there is Jerry Jones, who had his best year at Florida State in that nickel role. I think this game's a tough task. I'm not gonna come here and lie to you. This is a tall task of a game. Can the defense keep the game close? It's very possible. You're gonna have to. Some guys are simply gonna have to step up. With no Jarrett Verse, now Pat Payton is the focal point of that pass rush. Whoever's opposite of Pat, whoever gets that nod, whether that's Gilbert Edmond or Byron Turner, the depth chart actually was released. I just don't recall who's getting the nod opposite of Pat. They're not going to be Jarrett Verse, obviously, but can they do something? I mean, Noah Marius Mims, that's a big deal, right? Tall task, man. I'm not expecting Florida State to win this game. I'm just going to keep it bluntly honest with you. But I am intrigued to watch the younger players. I'm intrigued to look at Keziah Holmes and see what he does as the primary running, as the focal point. I know I'm going to be interested to see. I'm interested to see Hakeem Williams and some of these receivers. I'm going to be interested to see that secondary and AZ be kind of the guy now. And Conrad Hussey's, they still got Kevin Knowles starting. I think that's just a nod to a guy that's been, Florida State. Just want to give him, you're going to give Kevin Knowles a nod. But I think Conrad Hussey gets a bunch of burn in this game. Might even see some of the Quindarius Jones. Obviously, with Lundy out, maybe we'll see more Blake Nicholson or Omar Grant. So I'm very interested to see these younger guys in the rotations get a lot of burn. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a tall task. I'm not going to this game expecting a win. So for me, I'm watching because I'm intrigued by the young guys. I'm not watching we'll see what Brock Glenn looks like in his second start. There is a strategy to the game offensively that I would implement here. Because Miami is trying to tie the game up. Miami is trying to tie the game up down here with 20 seconds. They're driving. And that's just because, man, if Rutgers had a pulse of an offense, this game wouldn't be close. Miami's not a good football team, and we know this. Texas and Washington will be a blowout. Texas beats Bama to win it all. I hear you. I agree with you that it'll be Texas and Bama in the national championship. However, I said it before and I'll say it again. You're not going to get me to bet against Nick Saban twice. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat Saban twice. I would pick Bama in the rematch. If we don't get Cam or DJ, you still have to go after a portal guy. Even if you don't get Cam or DJ, you still got to look. You're talking about 2 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster next year. Oh no, you got to go get a guy. I don't know if we've signed one or not, Mike. Again, I've said it. I'll say it again. I don't have a good feel on it, so I can't tell you who I think we got. If we even got a guy, I don't know. Obviously, I think they are trying to land Cam Ward. Okay, Edmonds getting the start. What's up, Chad? Never said they were playing to lose. Never said that. They're obviously not playing to lose. They're going to go up there and they're going to play hard. They're going to give it their all. I'm not expecting to win because there's an obvious talent gap, in my opinion. I bet you it's going to be Brock Glenn shouldn't be playing football right now. And unfortunately he is due to an injury and an opt-out or a transfer portal. Trey Benson, an NFL caliber running back, isn't playing in this game. Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, NFL receivers, aren't playing. So I'm not expecting to win because you're losing a bunch of talent. It just is what it is. And the guys behind them, well, I believe the future may be bright and may be very talented players. They are extremely young players, and this is a tall game to ask them to all of a sudden grow up in. We'll see. I could be dead wrong, and they could come out there and have a great performance on Saturday. I'm just telling you that I'm not expecting a win. Doesn't mean that I'm not expecting them to go out there and play hard. Just not expecting a win. And if you think Florida State, if you think Florida State can win, hey, I'm not knocking any of y'all for believing or rooting for a win. That's your job. I'm just giving you, again, my take. I'm just giving you my take. I never said guys behind them are trash. Now you're putting words in my mouth. But I see how this conversation's about to go. Listen, newsflash. I'm going to let you know right here, right now. If you come here for sunshine and rainbows and for me to pump a bunch of BS, you're at the wrong spot. If you're here, first of all, you should already know that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you to make you feel good. I give you my honest opinion. I just give you my honest opinion. So if you come here for that, there are other channels, there are other podcasts, there are other people who are going to give you that. They're going to give you exactly what you want. It's not about having faith. I'm giving you a real expectation. If you believe, then you believe. That is fine. You are allowed to believe what you want to believe. That is okay. I was just giving you a dose of reality. And if I ask the question, what team could lose NFL tight end, NFL wide receiver, their starting quarterback down to their third string quarterback, NFL corner, NFL first round pass rusher. If I ask you what team could lose all of that and then go into a game against Georgia and be expected to win, y'all would look at me and laugh. But I get it. You're Florida State fans and you want to have faith. I'm giving you the real. You don't like the real, you in the wrong spot. You in the wrong spot. Sorry. When do you think we settle the law? I think that's going to be an interesting battle. I don't know if that's something that gets decided quickly, obviously, with the ACC suing us suing the ACC. But that's why you have, those big time lawyers. That's why you have those big time lawyers on that case. I'm just glad the wheels are in motion. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even know how these processes work. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I would hope, you feel me, like it gets resolved quickly, but I don't have any expectations of it. I'm just glad we're leading the charge, and we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and it's okay. Again, there should be no expectation. Again, the players are going to go into this game. They don't go into the game to lay down. They're going to go into the game expecting to win. But let's not act like we ain't watched Florida and Louisville games offensively since Jordan Travis got hurt. Like, we should know kind of what we're getting offensively. And we had Keon and Johnny and Trey and Jaheim in those games, right? And Miami just scored to Miami's actually somehow going to go into the halftime tied. So good for them. Rutgers, don't let me down. Bro, it just died on me, bro. It just died on me. I don't know. Do y'all think that's a touchdown or did I don't know. Ooh. I don't know if that's a touchdown. Looked like his butt might have hit out of bounds. Definitely worth a review. Definitely worth a review. We'll see. Brock will play like sunshine. I mean, I hope so. He said incomplete. Listen, we're rooting for Rutgers if you haven't noticed. Louisville don't really count. It's a rainy and windy. The best of them don't play that good in that type of conditions. Okay. What game did I watch? I'm pretty sure. Man, I was watching one of these bowl games that it was really rainy, and I think they might have been last night. USC and Louisville looked like they all scored. Everybody was going up and down the field on that game, but okay. Brock is having to grow up real fast. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, look, Brock might be up for the task, man. We'll see. It doesn't help the fact that Brock wasn't getting first team reps until Tate Rodemaker decided to hit the portal. So again, that's another thing working against Brock Glenn. We just keeping it real. It's not like Brock until a couple days ago didn't even know he was starting in this game. Miami's trash. That Jacurri kid better than Emory, but hurry clowns can't develop a QB to save a life. I think Jacurri Brown does have some tools. Watching him here, obviously he can run. He does have a big arm. He's throwing some decent out passes and stuff like that. He's also thrown He threw a pretty bad interception. So Miami doesn't get the touchdown, but they do get the field goal, and they go down into halftime 14-10. We'll see what adjustments are made by both teams coming out of halftime. The USC QB was a junior. So I'm not debating the quarterbacks. You said that the best of them don't play good in rainy conditions. I'm saying that that's false because I watched a game that was rainy and the best of them played like the best of them. I don't care what year the quarterback is. I'm not comparing Brock Glenn to the quarterback. I'm smarter than that. You said the best of them don't play good in rainy conditions. They do. That's not an excuse for why the team didn't play good offensively. The excuse for why the team didn't play offensively against Louisville is because without Jordan Travis, the offense has been out of sync, period. I don't blame them for wanting to win. Again, that's okay. We need Brock to be a game. They were both practicing, but there's reps you get as a first teamer, first string, second string, third string, right? Obviously, they were all practicing, but first team reps are with the guys, obviously, that you're going to be in the game with. Brock wasn't getting those reps. Now he is getting those reps, but he's getting them. He didn't get all of the reps needed, so to speak, as Tate Rodemaker decided to hit the portal late in the process. Or obviously, right, if they had known, Brock's getting the reps from the jump. So let's talk about this game. Is there a way? Let me get to the super chat, and then I'll talk about offensively what I do think Florida State can potentially do to be competitive in this game. But let's get to the $5 donation question. What is to say we were in the playoffs? Do we still go after a portal quarterback? I think so. I think it's obvious. I think it's obvious is the way that Tate has kind of acted. I think it's granted that also is that question's not cut and dry because a lot of that gets answered in the play. Theoretically speaking, you make it to the playoff. Tate Rodemaker is your quarterback. What if Tate has a run in the playoff where he lights it up and you win a national championship? Or you don't even win a national championship, but you win the first round. Tate throws for 300 yards and 3 TDs. And in the national championship, maybe you don't win it, but Tate still goes out there and throws and plays well. My point. Hell, maybe you lose in the first round, but he still goes out there and plays well. There was a chance, I think, in the playoff for Tate to solidify his spot. He goes out there against the perceived best teams in the nation and plays well. Maybe you're not looking for a transfer portal quarterback. We'll never know. That's all right. That's all hypotheticals at this point because he didn't get that opportunity. The FSU team, period, didn't get that opportunity to prove themselves in the playoff. But if he went in the playoffs and played well, there's a good chance you don't entertain a transfer portal. Why would you at that point? So there's always a chance. The assumption, I guess, is that you would have saw. My assumption, I guess, is you would have saw very similar performance to Florida throughout the playoffs. Even if FSU was able to manage wins, it would have been a defensive led team, is my assumption. So then they probably still would have targeted a transfer portal quarterback because you want that bridge. And that bridge is going to be to either Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek, right? That's going to be the real quarterback competition next year. Next year, the quarterback competition is going to be whoever they bring in the portal is going to be QB1. So there won't be competition there. But Brock Glenn is going to be trying to hold off Luke. And if Luke comes in and they're already practicing now, depending on how he's looking now, and then you go into the spring and all of that, that's going to be the competition. Is whenever DJ or Cam Ward or whoever's your quarterback, whenever they leave, who takes the mantle, Brock Glenn or Luke Kromenhoek? That's going to be the question. Tate Rodemaker is supposed to look like that. I mean, I can't say that. Again, that USC quarterback was a top 120, like a top 100 player coming out of high school. Obviously, he was a guy who had talent. I spoke on this earlier. Again, we keep talking about development. You have to have the horses to develop. Tate Rodemaker was never a high-profile recruit. It doesn't always mean that a guy can't turn into a great player. We've seen that. The point is, I don't think what that USC quarterback did, again, should be compared to Tate. Because not only was he a good player last night, he was a good player coming out of high school. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how does FSU compete offensively? Like, what do they do? If you want to talk about Brock Glenn and how do you make him as effective as possible, here's my opinion on that. FSU's got to get back. So here's what I'm pretty confident in saying. The middle of the field's dead. You're probably not going to trust Brock to throw in the middle of the field, and Brock's probably not comfortable against a Georgia defense throwing in the middle of the football field. That's not feasible. Obviously, you're going to want to try to establish the run. The good news is your offensive line comes back, for the most part, all in all intact. The bad news is the offensive line comes back all in all intact. Byers is going to be in for a hell of a game. And not the good way, probably. Hopefully he steps up, but we'll see. So the running game is going to be probably a little hit or miss. No Trey Benson, but I think everybody thinks Keziah Holmes is more than capable. It's just going to be how do they block for him. But what do you do with Brock Glenn? Well, again, the middle of the field I think is dead. So what do you do? Well, Georgia's probably going to man up and probably blitz you. They're probably not going to have any respect for the receivers on the outside with no Johnny and no Keon. And then they're not going to have any respect for the quarterback to actually get the receivers of the ball. So you're going to have one-on-one matchups, I believe, on the outside. You basically make it simple for Brock Glenn. You put guys like Deuce Spann on the outside, maybe put some of your speedier guys, and you don't make it complicated. There ain't no RPO. Hell no. You do a 3-step drop and you just go one-on-one jump. At the end of the day, all you got to do, what you have to do is, because if y'all think Brock Glenn can run RPO against Georgia and be effective, they're not going to have any threat of Brock Glenn running the football. Stop that. Anyway, what you're going to do is you got to say, my athlete against your athlete. Get your receivers in one-on-one battles and tell Kentron, tell Deuce, tell Hakeem, Dustin Hill, these receivers, you're going to have to win one-on-one. If the only way Florida State's going to be successful is you're going to have to win your one-on-one jump balls. You need to get the ball out of his hand. Don't ask him to read anything. Zero. You tell him before the ball is snapped, this ball is going to Deuce Spann. He's running a go route. Throw the ball as far down the field to him as you can. This ball is going to Kentron Portier, and obviously you'll set some screen stuff up. You'll do some quick passes to maybe get a rhythm. But ultimately, if you're going to ask Brock Glenn to get back there and try to dissect the defense and read off the safety, you're in for a long game. You got to simplify that game as much as possible. If you can establish the run, awesome. Because now you can pull the play action and you can creep the safeties up even more. Safeties are already going to be in the box, guys, because they are not going to respect your passing game. And they're going to say, if we can stop Florida State from running the ball, this game is going to be a wash. So the safeties are already going to be up. They're already going to have their corners one-on-one on the outside, daring you to throw the ball. You got to ask your athletes to out-athlete the other athlete. You're going to have to ask Florida State's wide receivers to win one-on-ones. Brock Glenn's going to have to just get them the ball. It's really that simple, in my opinion. If you can, I see Ja'Kai Douglas is playing running back. If you can, the problem, FSU has kind of got away with the wheel routes out of the backfield. I would love to see us get Ja'Kai Douglas on a linebacker on a wheel route. The problem with the wheel route is a long developing play. When Georgia's blitzing, can FSU hold up long enough for that play to develop? That's going to be a huge question. So a lot of this stuff is just going to be about timing. I don't know if the wheel route is a play that you can call. I would love to see it, though, with Ja'Kai Douglas out of the backfield. I think that's a matchup problem. Though we've seen the Ja'Kai Douglas experiment at running back before, and I'm not a fan of it. If you're going to put him in the backfield but then flex him out, I see how that can be effective. Again, I just don't think the middle of the field is feasible for you. And I know people want to say run Brock Glenn because we've seen him. Look, I've seen Brock Glenn run like everybody else has seen Brock Glenn run. And he's not running away from the Georgia defense. So you can run him, but I don't think Georgia's not going to account for him. So point is, I don't know how effective it's going to be. I think Georgia's going to say Brock Glenn can't outrun our linebackers anyway, because if you don't pay attention, Georgia recruits like the best. Georgia recruits the best linebackers in the country. But we'll see. Maybe they run them a little bit. I'm not so sure. But we'll find out. We'll definitely find out what they do with Brock. I don't think Brock is a dual threat quarterback of that nature. Like I don't know. Some of us are kind of predicting him to be. Let's see. Michigan beats Bama. They're tired of hearing that Bama beats them. I don't think Michigan has the athletes. I got Bama in that one. Wouldn't mind seeing it, but I'm just telling y'all, I got Bama in that one. I got to get him on the move. Getting on the move, like now rolling him out of the pocket, some things that you can definitely do. You can call those same go routes that I'm talking about. Absolutely. Call Deuce Span on a go, roll Brock Glenn out the pocket, and just like those can be effective. If you want to use his mobility to that extent, I can rock with that. Don't let him just sit in the pocket. Roll him out. Make the passes easier for him. Give him more of a clean lane to see down the field. I agree with that. No, sir, not me. I think that is a good way to play that. He's going to have to throw it more than 21 times, unfortunately. I would love to see that. Brock Glenn was a composite 3-star, actually. So, we go by the composite here. He was a composite 3-star, 89 grade. If he does that, FSU might can win the game. If he can throw for 230 and 2 Ds, FSU might can win the game. Knowles have more motivation because everyone expects him to lose. What motivation does Georgia have after not winning Natty? I won't even debate that, Keith. I don't think you're wrong. So a highly motivated Florida State team, maybe they can pull it off. I did too. My guess is because of the Rodney Hill portal and obviously CJ Campbell portal and obviously Trey Benson opt out. They probably just want some numbers back there, so they threw Ja'Kai. I don't believe that's going to be a continuous thing for Ja'Kai. I think that is just a one-game deal there. We'll see. We'll see there. Who will be the running back? It'll be Keziah Holmes. LT is another player who injury, so he's not playing this game. So you kind of see like we're down 4 running backs. So that may kind of make sense why they threw Ja'Kai Douglas in there. You're down literally 4 guys. You're down LT, Trey Benson, CJ, and Rodney. That leaves Keziah Holmes, Sam Singleton, hell, and Ja'Kai Douglas. Like, who else am I missing there? That's it. That's it. Oh, and they got Joshua Burrell listed on the depth chart. So this goes back to my original point, y'all, about why I say I expect the loss, and everybody's kind of killing me for that. FSU's down 4 running backs. They're playing Keziah Holmes, a true freshman, and 2 converted wide receivers at running back. Y'all, come on. You got to have a realistic expectation to this game. I would love to see that. I think Hakeem can be a focal point. Again, if you're able to roll Glenn outside of the pocket, Hakeem, superior athlete. You can get Hakeem matched up and maybe in some good situations. Deuce Spann is another one, right? Has superior speed. Can you get him on the outside in a matchup that's favorable? So there's going to be a chance maybe for some of these receivers. Like a guy like Tron, I don't know if he can get the separation. But I mean, we'll see. But I would like to try to use my superior athletes in this game if their offense is going to have a chance. Defensively, I think FSU can definitely be in the game defensively. I do think you got to try to find someone who can rush the passer opposite of Pat, but having Tatum, having DeLoach in this game is going to be huge, in my opinion. Having Fisk and Farmer and Daryl Jackson actually getting to play will be huge. I'm interested to see what kind of game shape Jackson is in. I know he practiced all year, but he hasn't played the games. It's going to be interesting to see, is he super fresh and unguardable, or, it's going to be interesting to see Daryl Jackson. And I do think our secondary, we're going to see some younger guys in secondary who I'm actually interested in watching with that. I think defensively we can be okay. If we're able to get in the red zone, I would love to see a lot. That's a good question too. Is Hakeem even healthy? That's a great question. I don't know. That's actually a great question. I know he wasn't healthy in some of the other games. Florida, Louisville, we didn't see much of Hakeem. I don't think we saw any of Hakeem in that Northern Alabama game. That's a great question. Is Hakeem even healthy? I think he's listed on the depth chart. So if I'm only going off the depth chart, then I'll say Hakeem is healthy, but that's a great question. Down 4 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2. Hey, it is the truth is the truth. If we can get, but back to this one, if we can get in the red zone, I think you definitely got to target a 6'7" Kyle Morlock. Problem is, in my opinion, I don't know if Morlock is a factor outside of that. Again, a tight end like that is, you want to be able to work the middle of the field. I would advise against having Brock Glenn throw in the middle of the field. If you want to talk about not turning the ball over, that would be preferable. They don't have all their guys playing. That's not true. But they have more of their guys playing than we do. Folk, I saw a video of media asking a Michigan player about them finding out about playing Bama, mainly asking if they were scared. He said they in total shock that they left FSU out. They would have been in a rude awakening. Let me tell you something. That's another reason why I know Michigan's going to lose to Bama. Because they don't want any smoke with Alabama. Michigan knows what kind of team they are. Again, everybody talks about that Florida game and FSU's offense in that game. And they don't talk about that. Was it the Florida game? No, excuse me. Everybody talks about the Louisville game and FSU's offense in the Louisville game. And FSU's got more yards in that Louisville game with the third string quarterback than Michigan got in their championship game with their first string guy. Michigan would have been in a rude awakening. I know they think they won at Florida State. Michigan would have been in a rude awakening, in my opinion. Michigan, they ain't been tested enough on the year with that cupcake schedule they had. They're going to lose to Bama. Michigan's going to lose to Bama. I'll call that right now. Michigan's going to lose to Bama. On three, just to get off the subject a little bit, they're saying that Michigan's top corner and linebacker both entering the portal for the portal for the start of the playoff. Really? If Brock likes what he sees, a quick slant on the goal line would be okay. Anything else should be to the sideline. I mean, if you can get the matchup, yeah. When I say don't throw the ball over the middle, I don't mean like a quick slant. Those aren't really considered over the middle throws. Those are low risk throws. I'm talking about, something that's right over the linebacker, but right underneath the safety. That sweet spot of a defense that if you have a real legit thrower can really dice a defense up. I'm not saying Brock can't be that, but he's not that right now. He's not that right now. So that's why I'm saying because of the speed of the game, I would avoid those type of throws because over the middle, those things look open early and they close extremely fast. So that's where I see it as far as offense goes. If FSU can establish a run, then they can be in this game. But they're going to have to throw the ball to take pressure off the run because I think coming into this game, Kirby Smart's just going to sell out. Kirby Smart's not going to have no respect for Brock Glenn and no respect for those receivers on the outside. And I don't blame him because if I was a D coordinator, I wouldn't have any respect for him either. So starting the second half of this Miami-Rutgers game, combined, I think I did 50 minutes on the first video that cut off, and we've done about 50 here. So we've done about, 57 actually on the first video. So we've done a little bit over 2 hours. They need to put Julian Armella in. And this game, he might get some rotation. But again, most of FSU's offensive line kind of comes, they're playing in this game with the exception of Bless Harris. I wouldn't expect Robert Scott to play because he doesn't. So maybe you do get Julian Armella in this game rotationally. But he won't start. So we will do a post-game, we will talk post-game about that game. So this Saturday, you can expect the instant reaction, the last instant reaction of the 2023 season, obviously. So we will get that. When you say the reports on Armella are not good, what does that mean, Lewis? And who's reporting it? I would love to know what that means. Is he hurt? Are you saying he just sucks? Like what reports? And please share a link. Please share a link. Or are we believing the same media that y'all believe one day and don't believe another day? Y'all believe when it's convenient. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. That's all. So, update. The Purdue defensive lineman we're talking about / linebacker, but he won't be a linebacker at Florida State. I mean, 6'4", 280 pounds. He won't be a linebacker. I can make a case he wasn't a linebacker for Purdue. I'm pretty sure they played him standing up, 3-4 edge guy. But the Purdue 6'4", 280-pound defensive lineman, 10 sacks that led the Big Ten. He is visiting FSU the 3rd and Louisville the 4th. I think that's good for Florida State. That is 2 visits so far. Only Florida State, we get the first one, and then a Louisville visit the following day. I feel good about recruiting about Louisville, though I understand Jeff Brom was his former coach. So that, right? That's, you are going to be competing with his former coach that he definitely probably has a relationship with. So that might be tough for Florida State. But so far, Nick Scorton, I guess is how you pronounce that last name, has visits set up January 3rd, which is my mom's birthday, to Florida State, and January 4th, when I'll be in Jamaica, by the way, to Louisville. Probably not good that he's visiting Purdue, and Purdue's like on the top of his list there. He's a Texas native, by the way. So interesting that Texas isn't involved here. That'd be a good get for Louisville. You got to see if you can beat Brom in a head-to-head matchup right there. I trust your people at War Chant. Shout out to you, Lewis. I'm not mad at you. The same War Chant that told you Tate Rodemaker was the next GOAT. Hey, you believe what you want. If one of the starting quarterbacks gets hurt in the semifinal, should they be? Man, you know the answer to that. Chris! And that's the problem. War Chant, these beat writers have narratives to sell. Look at what they're doing. Yeah, I agree. That is absolutely the problem. Even if Armella, I'm not even going to get on that soapbox, but I'm going to say this and then we'll finish. Even if the reports about Armella are true, why put it out there? Who benefits from, Armella sucks right now? Like, they didn't say that about Tate Rodemaker leading up to this year. Again, they were pushing the narrative that Tate Rodemaker would be your starting quarterback if the offensive line was good. Well, that turned out to be false in every aspect. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. And I agree, Montre. It looks like Rutgers is probably going to piss down their leg to end this game. Which, again, when you don't have an offense, makes sense. Makes sense. Miami still sucks, though. They sorry. But it just shows you how sorry Miami is. Boys going life to death with 6-6 Rutgers. But with all that said, y'all, look at the tackle position. If he was any good, he would have gotten some meaningful snaps. Well, I don't know. I've watched him. Now, granted, I've watched him second team and blowouts. It looks pretty good to me. I mean, look at the tackle position. You telling me Byers is that much better than Armella? I'm just asking a question. Like, take into account that Julian Armella is a redshirt freshman. Take into account that Alex Atkins has been on the record of saying he does not want to rush any of those offensive linemen. I think, I don't know. I think we expect so much so soon from some players. Alex Atkins hasn't played any of his Alex Atkins has not played any of his high school commits. So either you're telling me that Atkins is a terrible, terrible talent evaluator and that none of his recruits hit, or he's playing the long game and he's not rushing them on the field. Lewis, I'll let you answer that question. You can believe what you want. You can believe Armella sucks. You can believe he doesn't suck. You can believe Jalen. But if Armella sucks, then Jalen Early sucks. Then Lucas Simmons sucks. And all those players that he's not playing right now and he's playing the long ball with, that means they suck. You're allowed, and that's the case, that we need to question that talent evaluator on the offensive line. If that's the answer, should I say. Now it's time to evaluate the talent evaluator and his development process. Oh shoot, that's what I just said. Look at that. No sir, not me. Took the words right out of my mouth. If Armella sucks, and that means Jalen Early sucks. And we got to be careful. And this is why my problem with the beat writers. This is my problem with these people that report this stuff. You think by trying to be, I don't know what they're trying to be. You actually are making the staff look worse in your reporting. That's probably inaccurate. I don't trust any of these scouting guys on these websites. They're wrong 9 times out of 10. They're pretty wrong. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. You can go down a list of players of them telling you, well, this guy's this and this guy's that. Again, this is the same people that told you Tafasi was the next Timmy Jernigan. And he's not even on the roster anymore. And by the way, he didn't get any rotation snaps last year either. Maybe he got some in some blowouts. But that's my issue. It's the same people that told you War Chance, 247. They're the same ones that told you that Ayo was going to be the next. The same people are telling you that Armella sucks. Yep, see? Them boys pissing down their leg. Hopefully it's holding. But I'm going to get on out of here, guys. Again, we'll get back on Saturday, man. There will be a instant reaction to the Florida State-Georgia game. Maybe it's positive. Ultimately, it won't be negative because, again, I go into that game with zero expectation. But I'm going to be tuned in. I'm mostly going to talk about what I saw from the young guys and my thoughts going forward now that the season be over. But maybe we'll talk about a win. Maybe we'll get a chance to add a sticker or two to close out the season. But with all that said, y'all hit the like button on your way out. That's an NFL catch. Good catch by Restrepo, by the way. Not only did he get a foot in, he dragged the toe. That's an NFL catch. And Miami goes up 17-14. They still trash. But, again, hit the like button on the way out if you didn't hit on the way in. Joe Boy Polk over here on 8637 on TV. And I'll catch y'all Saturday after the Georgia game. Y'all have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon. We are out here